Hi guys, today we are creating a really fun decorative bee skep or beehive, and we are using Dress It Up Button Embellishments Bee Happy. I'm actually using 2 packages of these, but you could use 3 or 4. It is completely up to you and depends on how many bees you want to add to your beehive. A couple of things that you're going to need to create this project. You're going to need a small planter. You can actually use a large planter if you want to, but we're going to start with a small one. You also want to cut out a circle that will fit the opening of your planter out of either styrofoam or cardboard, and just trace around and cut that out with your pair of scissors, of course. You're also going to need some black acrylic paint and a paintbrush. You may want to create a bow to match your Dress It Up Button Embellishment Bee Happy bees. So I have found some yellow and some black and white ribbon to coordinate with those little guys, and we're going to add this right at the end. Last but not least, you're going to need some jute twine or some twisted rope. I'm going to use the twisted rope for mine, but it is completely up to you. And the width of your rope or your twine is completely up to you as well. I like to use the thicker style rope just because it doesn't take nearly as long to cover the outside of my planter. The first step is to cover the planter with your cord. You want to start at the opening of your planter. This essentially is going to be the bottom. We're going to start right on the edge, and you want to lay down some of your hot glue all along the edge and then lay your cord right on top and continue this in a spiral pattern all the way up the entire planter until you have covered the entire surface of the planter with your hot glue and your rope or your cord. Once you've covered the entire planter with your rope, you want to leave an opening here at the top. Don't cut off the tail end of your cord just yet. We need to glue a loop at the top so that we have somewhere where we can hang our bee skep. Cut yourself a small piece of rope about 3 to 4 inches, and you want to glue this down in a hook manner with the tail ends of your rope touching the very top of your planter where you haven't filled it in with rope yet. And then you want to take the tail end of the rope and wind it around those ends and fill in the rest of the top of the planter with your rope. When your rope hook has dried and you have filled in the spaces on the top of the planter with the rope, you want to go around your rope hook 1 or 2 more times with your hot glue, gluing those down and also reinforcing your rope hook with the extra glue and the extra rope. When your glue has dried, you want to trim off the tail end of your rope and move on to the bottom section of your hive. At this point, you want to take your styrofoam or your cardboard cutout and lay that onto the opening of your planter. And then you want to glue this in place with some of your hot glue. And then you also want to create a spiral with your rope or your twine and cover the bottom of your planter as well. Once you've covered the bottom of your beehive with your rope and covered up all of that styrofoam and cardboard, you're ready to move on to the next step. The next step is to cut a small piece of rope that will create a circle, and we're going to glue this to the front of our beehive or your bee skep. Just like so. We're going to glue that down with our hot glue and let that glue dry, and then we're going to take some black acrylic paint and paint in the center of the circle that we've created so that it looks like an opening or a pretend hole into our bee skep for our bees to enter. Because of the dryness and the texture of the rope or the twine that you use to cover the outside of your beehive, it may take a couple of layers of your black acrylic paint to fully cover the rope inside your circle. Once your paint has completely dried, we're ready to move on to the most exciting step, and that is adding our Bee Happy Dress It Up Button Embellishments, our little bees, to the outside of our beehive with some hot glue. Each one of the bees is a shank style button, so you need to come to the back and trim the shank off with either a pair of sharp scissors or a cutter tool so that you have a nice flat back. And then you just want to apply a thin layer of hot glue and place these down all around the outside of your beehive wherever you want. Once you have added all of your bees to your beehive, you can actually be finished, but I'm going to add a little extra decorative flair to my beehive. So I'm going to take some of the ribbon that I showed you at the beginning of the project and tie a simple bow with my ribbons around the top of my rope loop, and then I've saved 2 of my little bees to add to my bow as well. To add a little extra security to the bow that's at the top of your beehive, once you have tied on your ribbon the first time, you may want to add a drop of your hot glue before you proceed with creating the loops of your ribbon. Once all of your glue has dried, you have an adorable beehive bee skep, the perfect way to show off your Bee Happy dress it up button embellishments, and a wonderful addition to any of your spring decor.